In this episode, I'm going to give you my recommendations for week 2 of the fantasy basketball season for the Sleeper app. Now let's make some game picks. Welcome to the Game Pick Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Robbin Marx. You can connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Game Pick Podcast. If you love fantasy basketball, points leagues, dynasties, even Sleeper's new game pick format, which is going to be the focus of this podcast, please consider subscribing on all channels. Now, just to give you a little preview of what to expect here, basically, I saw the opportunity to create a community around this game pick format. I've always loved fantasy sports. Like I've been playing fantasy football and basketball for 7 years. I've done money leagues, free leagues, DFS, like right on down the line. I even took a crack at doing a podcast before, but I wasn't really in the right space to actually complete it. So I did a few episodes just for my league mates, but it's something that I didn't really pursue and keep pushing. However, in the last few years, I started podcasting in a different field in music. And I said, you know what? There's like this whole opportunity to create more community around the game that I love, which is fantasy basketball. I know that a lot of people online who play fantasy basketball play category leagues, play roto leagues. And that's great. I love that aspect of the game. It just was never for me. And I always felt like there was almost like a bit of people frowning down upon people who played points leagues. You know what I'm saying? And that's my jam. I love points leagues. I love to like have my guys compete head to head. And I believe there is strategy involved with that. However, with the Sleeper app, like it is taking things to a whole nother level. It's like next level strategies that you need to use with their one of a kind game pick format. So this podcast is really going to be built on that concept. It's new and this podcast is new and you're new to seeing this podcast probably. And I want to make sure that you know this is us taking a journey. This is a brand new aspect of the game that we love. And we're going to grow together, learn about it, and also exchange information, tips, and tricks. And I'm going to make sure that I pack tons of value into these so you can win your leagues. So what I want to do is jump right in. And the first segment is going to be called Big Time Game Picks. With Big Time Game Picks, we're going to talk about people that you most likely drafted in the first round or you drafted them in the second round. And I'm going to give you the game that they should play for that week. And we're going to be talking about week 2 right now. So this is for week 2 games. Now, if you guys don't know how, game picks works, basically it's very similar to fantasy football where you get to pick one day or one player to play on that particular day. In fantasy basketball, we've been like setting lineups for the whole week. On some platforms like Yahoo, you could set all of your players for 1 week, but on ESPN, you have to manually do it. And that can be tough. It could take a lot of time, especially if you're like me and you're in multiple leagues, right? So Sleeper's, game pick format really simplifies all of that. And in this episode and every week, the episodes that we're going to do for this season, it's going to really just give you the foundation to make sure that for your studs, for your really high draft picks, that you know where to put them. So let's start off with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has been really on fire. And I think that it's important for us to understand that with this whole situation with Ben Simmons happening, that he's going to be, you pick the day that you want to play him. So Embiid is really simple. I don't have one day because I think at the beginning of the season, he's going to be feasting on any team that he comes across. So for Embiid, he's the rare, play him any day. Any day that you want to play Embiid, you can play him. The next one is Karl Anthony Towns. For Karl Anthony Towns, we actually have a day that we want to recommend for you to pick to play him. And that would be on Monday versus the New Orleans Pelicans. So Monday, week 2, you want to start your week out with Karl Anthony Towns. And the reason is I believe he's going to feast on their front court. They don't have the strongest front court. And I believe Karl Anthony Towns is going to feast. Like he's going to have a field day with those guys. So I would strongly recommend starting your week out strong with Carl Anthony Towns on the Monday. Now, the next player I want to talk about is Nikola Jokic, and he is arguably the best player in fantasy sports right now, in fantasy basketball sports right now. So you can play him any day, but I'm going to recommend that you play him on Monday versus Cleveland. It's a home game, and it's their only home game of the week, which is very important to note. So it's their only home game of the week. And on top of that, they're going to be playing 2 back-to-backs in that week. So him playing 2 back-to-backs and him having a home game, I would recommend that home game, which is not on a back-to-back. So that's his only like non-back-to-back game. Play your big guy, play Big Chungus on the Monday versus Cleveland. The next one is Luka Doncic. You want to play Luka on Sunday versus Sacramento. Again, very similar to Embiid and the Joker. You can play him on any day, but he's projected on Sleeper to score more points on the Sunday. Additionally, bring home your week strong with Luka. You know, you want to make sure that you can strategize where you don't have to play all of your guys early in the week. You can kind of spread it out. I would save Luka for last because he's projected to have his highest output based on standard Sleeper scoring for that day. Okay. Next is Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is, going to be big time without Russell Westbrook in the backcourt with him this year. So he's going to be like eating like he's at a buffet. It's going to be hardcore shots after shots after shots. So make sure that for Beal, you play him on Monday against Brooklyn. Now, it is an away game. The reason that I recommend you starting Bradley Beal on the Monday versus Brooklyn is because he's playing against the best 2 guard in the game, James Harden. And he's going to want to make a statement early in the season that, you know what, I'm here too, James. Like, yes, you're good. I'm coming to your building at the Barclays Center and I'm going to, do my thing. So I would recommend going with Beal at Brooklyn on the Monday. Additionally, with KD there as well, it's almost like 2 against 1 because, his second best player is going to be Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a former Net, so that could play, that could play into his success because maybe Dinwiddie will feed him. But I say go with Beal on the Monday. And also you get to start your week strong with him. The next person I want to talk about is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, I would start him on the Friday versus the LA Clippers. It's a home game, and it's really important for him to like get cooking against an opponent like the LA Clippers. So I would go with Damian Lillard. And the next player is Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I would play him on Saturday versus OKC. Any game would work for Curry, like a lot of these players, but there's no back-to-backs there. So I want to make sure that he doesn't have any back-to-backs for the whole week. So I believe, that would be the best players to play him on the Saturday. The next player is De'Aaron Fox. I'd play him on a Sunday at Dallas. He has all away games this week. So in week 2, the Sacramento Kings are playing away all week. So I would recommend the last game of the week. And also very similar to Bradley Beal, he's playing against a superstar. He's playing against Luka Doncic that day. So he's going to want to like make a statement that, you know what, I'm just as good. I'm ready to, make a statement this year. The next player we want to talk about is James Harden. And James Harden, we want to start him on the Monday versus Washington, again, because of Bradley Beal. So those guys are going to want to go at each other's throats and necks because they want to make sure that people know that they're the number 1 2-guard in the league. And the last player for the big time game pick segment is Sabonis. We want to start Sabonis on the Wednesday at Toronto. So he has a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, I believe. So we want to make sure that we don't play him on those other 2 days because, you never know with a back-to-back, especially with a new coach. They have a new coach, Carlisle, and we don't know exactly how they're going to play him. So I would say Wednesday is like the island. It's floating in the middle of the week. No back-to-back. I would start him on the Wednesday at Toronto. The next segment is called Pick of the Week. So this is not going to be like a superstar stud, but this is somebody maybe you got in the middle rounds, maybe in the third or fourth round, depending on the size of your league. And this is Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon is the pick of the week. He is starting off strong. This is, at the time of recording this, I've only seen a couple of days of basketball, but I'm telling you, in week 2, I think he's going to cook. So I would strongly recommend starting him on Monday versus Milwaukee. Now, why? Milwaukee just won a championship without him. He used to play on that team, you know what I mean? And then he, went to Indiana and they won a championship without him. So I think he's going to want to prove something. And also they're a little banged up, in their backcourt, Milwaukee. Defensively, they might have some challenges with a player like Malcolm Brogdon. So Drew Holiday's been banged up this week. Just a lot of injuries in their front court. So I could see Brogdon taking advantage of that. So if I failed to mention the players on your team, don't worry. All I need you to do is leave a comment on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube where this video is. So if you're listening on Spotify or Google Podcast or Apple Podcast, I want you to go to the YouTube channel and go comment the players that you'd like me to review for these shows, and I'll gladly get to it. Okay. So don't forget to stop by the YouTube page. And also, please join our brand new Discord group. If you need help with game picks, trades, dynasty questions, team names, anything, just join us and we'll help you out in that community. All you have to do is hit the link in the YouTube description of this episode. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit us with a Hacksaw Jim Duggan and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you absolutely crush your league this week. Now get out there and make some game picks.